Determining Tory suffered life-threatening injuries, forcing them to call 911. Video with a man who is believed to be Tory Lanez landing in a
Damn, they had that boy out on the chopper?
Medical Center in Bakersfield, California, an hour-long drive from the prison.
Golly!
A helicopter was the only form of transportation able to move him fast enough to save his life. A message to Tory Lanez
14 times?
He'd been stabbed
14 times. 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed.
42-year-old Santino.
Oh, hell nah.
A man with a dark, violent history. On June 8th, 2022,
wait, huh?
A then 20-year-old Santino, who went by the name Sonny, was heard arguing with his 13-year-old girlfriend.
Bro, what?
Later, she was shot in the face with a shotgun.
For one, you're 20 years old with you're 20 with a 13-year-old girlfriend, and then you shot her in the face with a shotgun? That's the devil on, bro.
Before being arrested.
What's going on, JB fam? We back with another video. Y'all already know what it is. You already know what to do, bro. I don't know if y'all heard, but today we're gonna be talking about the person who stabbed Tory Lanez in prison was an inmate who got life, who killed his underage girlfriend with a shotgun. So buddy all out the local. That buddy's stupid crazy. No cap. But we finna check out the details. See how like, come subscribe. Let's hop right into the video.
Man, what's up, everybody? It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all. Y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're gonna be speaking on Tory Lanez getting stabbed inside a prison.
That boy got poked up.
Who did it? May 12th, 2025.
Like, damn.
Located north of Los Angeles lies the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, California. In 2021, the prison closed its minimum custody facility, meaning its 2,600 inmates were level 3 or level 4.
Damn!
These are the most dangerous levels in California state.
That boy got the motherfucking
gangs and strict politics are enforced with deadly consequence. The only
that boy got the Heilig on his face.
Would be the maximum security inmates housed within the security housing unit. Otherwise,
that shit is straight concrete and metal.
Disciplinary confinement.
Prison's not for me.
The most violent, whose only escape from a cell is a human dog cage. It was 7:20 in the morning. 32-year-old Daystar Peterson, who's more commonly known as the rapper Tory Lanez, was violently attacked.
Oh!
TMZ would originally report multiple sources, including a corrections officer, claimed Tory was on the prison yard, but an updated report from a representative of the California Department of Corrections would clarify Tory was attacked within a housing unit.
Damn, that boy got poked up in the cell?
Administering first aid while quickly determining Tory suffered life-threatening injuries, forcing them to call 911. Video with a man who is believed to be Tory Lanez landing in a
damn, they had that boy out on the chopper?
Medical Center in Bakersfield, California, an hour-long drive from the prison.
Golly!
A helicopter was the only form of transportation able to move him fast enough to save his life. A message to Tory Lanez
14 times?
He'd been stabbed
14 times. 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. Both of his lungs collapsed. Who put out a hit? This ain't no beef. Somebody dropped a bounty on that boy head like GTA 6, bro.
14 times.
Damn!
7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face.
How the hell you get stabbed in the back of your head and not die?
And he had to be placed on a breathing apparatus. Luckily, Tory was breathing on his own, and despite the pain, was talking normally, in good spirits.
And the fact that he really is not even guilty, in my opinion, is crazy.
He also wanted to thank everyone for their continued prayers and support. Based on his wounds, it can be assumed Tory was attacked from behind, as the majority of his wounds struck his back and behind his head. Initially, no word was released as to who did it, leaving room for speculation. Because this took place in California, the only time someone is stabbed and it doesn't result in a race riot is if they are stabbed by their own race.
Yeah.
That isn't the case here. Compton rapper Spider Loc would post a conversation with a current inmate at Tehachapi. The man would claim Tory was on a tier full of Mexicans when a Mexican stabbed Tory.
Ah, damn, the essays got to him.
And the prison was placed on lockdown. He'd also confirmed, as soon as the lockdown is lifted, the blacks will be seeking revenge on the Mexicans.
What's Gucci?
What's cracking?
What it do, Fight?
Shit, not much. Right, this morning, brother, the Mexican out of bust on the boy Tory. You know, they airlifted him and all that, so you know, nah, that's gonna respond. When we come off this shit, we're gonna respond the right way to that.
They laid the yard down?
Damn, that boy said we finna get back immediately as soon as we get out the doors.
What was it over? It was over. So what he had? Did he have a debt, a gambling debt, or something?
Nah, nothing like that. Shit, we don't even really know. We don't even know the whole situation, you know.
So it was just like some foul play. So it's finna be up.
Yeah, for sure, with some foul play.
Damn.
Damn.
Wasn't nobody right there with him? Wasn't nobody right there with him?
Yeah, I guess nobody wasn't.
Nah, the fact that he was on a tier full of Mexicans, I don't know how prison works exactly. I had a couple homies in the pen and shit. I know usually they put the races with the races. So like if you black, you usually get put like with the black people type shit. If you Mexican, white, the whites be with the whites. They don't usually interracial shit. Like, I don't know. Somebody out there, I feel like somebody set that shit up on bro.
By himself out there, he got a whole tier full of next. He on a whole tier full of next. Wow. You already know, once we get off this shit, we put some player on. Press play.
I'm already knowing. God damn.
Tehachapi has a known reputation for being SNY, otherwise known as a special needs yard. These yards are known to house gang dropouts, snitches, sex offenders, and anyone else whose life is threatened by being in general population.
Shit, it's life threatening that motherfucker.
Also recently implemented 50-50 yards, half general population, half SNY, to integrate the two prison societies. This goes against strict prison gang politics, mainly for the Mexicans and whites who are allegedly forced to attack any rival or SNY inmate to essentially remove themselves from the yard until they are placed back in general population amongst the quote-unquote honorable convicts. While
that
general
shit's stupid as
population
hell.
is deadly, it's controlled chaos. And SNY yards can be just as dangerous, if not worse, as the gang politics that keep things in line go out the window and violence becomes rampant. It's unclear if Tory was in fact SNY, as that comes with its own bad reputation within prison, but it's likely Tory was placed on a 50-50 yard, and his politics didn't require him to remove himself. Now, Tory's attacker would be identified as 42-year-old Santino.
Oh, hell nah.
A man with a dark, violent history. On June 8th, 2022,
Wait, huh?
a then 20-year-old Santino, who went by the name Sonny, was heard arguing with his 13-year-old girlfriend.
Bro, what?
She was shot in the face with a shotgun.
For one, you're 20 years old you're 20 with a 13-year-old girlfriend, and then you shot her in the face with a shotgun? That's the devil on, bro.
Before being arrested. His
That's
own
the
family
devil.
would testify against him in court how they heard the argument before the blast. A coroner would testify the barrel must have been 4 inches away from the girl's face before it went off.
Damn, he straight faced her ass.
Arrested would be played at trial where Santino admitted to having a relationship with the 13-year-old girl for a month before the shooting.
That's
The
insane.
girl was a runaway, while Santino was on parole from the California Youth Authority for burglary. In 2004, Santino would be sentenced to life in prison for murdering 13-year-old Evelyn
Shit,
Candejas
good.
and 2 other attempted murders from 2 separate stabbings. While in prison, he'd be sentenced to an additional 6 years for a prison stabbing on another inmate, and in 2018, he was sentenced to an additional 2 years for possessing a knife in prison.
God, this nigga, they need to lock this nigga under the jail. Oh, bro, they need to send his ass to Alcatraz. Not Alcatraz, but ADX Florence up in Colorado with, like, bro, what? Bro, that's insane.
Santino Casio was as dangerous as they come.
Oh, bro.
His conviction for murdering a 13-year-old girl he'd been dating confirms he was definitely an SNY inmate, as he'd never be allowed to walk in general population without being stabbed or killed.
No cap.
Why he chose to attack Tory Lanez is unknown. Many question if Tory was targeted because of his own conviction for allegedly shooting his former friend Meg Thee Stallion. The fact that he had a female victim, many would assume would be reason enough for him to be hit. But Santino's case is far worse than Tory's could ever be.
Like, bro, what?
And offers no.
Tory allegedly shot a grown-ass woman. He had a relationship, probably a sexual relationship, with a 13-year-old girl. Shot her in the face point blank with a shotgun. Gang, them shits is incomparable. Like, that shit is like, I'm on Earth, nigga. You're on Neptune. Oh, bro.
Motive as to why this happened. Tory Lanez is expected to survive, and it can also be expected that Santino be placed in the shoe and receive additional time in prison for this attack.
Bro, he's already doing life, bro. Like, you really can't do much else.
A lifetime. A superstar rapper once on top of the world, now surrounded by killers with nothing to lose because of a stupid decision that changed the entire course of his life. Tory is lucky to have survived this, and hopefully remains lucky enough to survive the remaining years of his 10-year prison sentence. Now, when Tory was sentenced to prison, everybody assumed one of two things. One is his money and celebrity status is going to keep him safe. And two, because he has a female victim, he could be targeted. I don't know if either one played a role in this, but the fact that Tory was damn near killed, right? Because prisons don't call in a helicopter for nothing. They all have medical units within the prison. Like, if it's superficial, they'll fix you. The fact that he had to be airlifted, his lungs collapsed.
Like, bro, he's damn near dead.
This was a serious stabbing. Anytime a helicopter lands, it's serious.
No cap.
The fact that he survived this,
It's God.
and the fact that he was hit up in the first place, shows you how real prison is. Your celebrity status is not going to protect you. If you're accessible, it can happen to you.
Okay.
The fact that Tory was on an SNY yacht, from my understanding, doesn't mean he necessarily went PC for protective custody. From my understanding, the black race in California State Prison doesn't have to remove themselves from SNY yards because their politics don't do that. The whites and the Mexicans will not stay on a 50-50 yard. It's required that they remove themselves. The reason they do that is so they don't run into pieces of shit like Santino Casio, a man that murdered a 13-year-old girl.
And then they gotta do something to him.
Right? General population, they don't want him there. So if he goes there, they remove him. But if they get placed into a dorm or a unit where they're surrounded by weird fucks like that guy, they gotta pop on somebody to remove themselves.
Okay.
Reality is, if Tory was never at that spot, around that guy, this would have never happened. And that's the thing about general population. Even though it's so strict, it's controlled chaos. That's why when Spider Loc was questioning his boy inside of the prison, he was asking, was it a gambling debt or something? Did Tory do something? What would cause someone of another race to attack him? Because under controlled politics, that doesn't happen like that.
They got it. It's a hierarchy to that shit.
With SNY inmates, there's no rules and everything is off limits, resulting in Tory Lanez damn near being killed. But let me know y'all's thoughts and comments in the comments.
Man, that's about the end of the video, but that shit crazy as hell. No cap. Like, he was in there with a demon. Bro, that man was a demon. He killed a 13-year-old girl who he was having a relationship with a shotgun to the face. And then damn near killed Tory Lanez. and then had 2 other prison stabbings, and then got caught with a knife. Brother, he doesn't need to be in prison anymore. That nigga needs to be, they need to lock that nigga up in space. They need to build a goddamn space prison for his ass. No cap. That's why I do everything by the book. No bullshit. That shit not for me, buddy. No cap. I never snitch. I never do nothing. But I'm gonna walk them straight and narrow. That shit's not for me. Bro, if I have to, I have to. But don't. Buddy, I love sleeping in my queen size bed. Memory foam mattress. Good AC. I can walk outside whenever the hell I want to. So that should be a lesson to y'all youngins. This shit not no game. This shit real life. No cap. But hey, man, if y'all said video, I appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to 1,000 subscribers. Tap into my second reaction channel, JBsiah 2, link in the description. Tap into my clothing brand, JungleBredClothing, link in the description. Man, y'all style away, get you some money. All love, JBsiah. We out.